In rural France, you see a lot of poor dead cars that are sitting there in fields and farmyards and whatever. I just love that look, the non-shiny, the natural look, and I think it's to do with the genuine aging of the things, something actually showing its age. It works with particular car shapes, and I think it works particularly well with this. I'm Charles Evans, and this is my Alfa Romeo 66 Giulia. The car was pulled out of a barn in Sussex a few years back and ended up in the hands of Ian Ellis, a well-known Alfa specialist. And externally it's not been touched since then, so it wears its scars with pride as part of the car that we've chosen to preserve. It goes back to really my original love for hot rods, which took me right back to when I first started driving. I was obsessed with custom cars and hot rods and whatever, so the rat rod scene is something I've kept an eye on. It's not something you normally find, linked over to a sort of more of a European classic car, but in this case, that's what it is, and that's how it's going to stay.
Run this car regularly. I enjoy driving it all the time. It's I'm not fussy, I'm not precious about it, so I've run it for a good 10 years, living outside, living inside, as an everyday car sometimes, and it's put a lot of wear and tear on it. I decided there needed a lot of structural works. We had the sills done, we had the rear wings done. When it came out, it then needed a paint job. I thought, in order to save some money, maybe I'd have a go at, before we get it painted, to rub it down myself. So I started some rubbing down and a bit of filling, and realised how hard that was. And then I stepped back and I looked at it and I thought, wow, that looks really cool actually, it looks quite nice like that. So it's a little bit by design and by default really. It was, it was a bit of me not being able to afford to do anything else, and then actually quite liking the look on it. My dad just always had a soft spot for the Alfa, and he would never stop talking about it. When I came to the age to buy my first decent car, I just had a hankering for an Alfa. I bought an Alfa Spider. One day on my way to work, there was a 5-car pile-up which I was in the middle of. But I was smiling from ear to ear when I got out and I was in the middle of this big accident, and the guy behind me, he said, "Are you all right?" I said, "I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine." He said, why are you smiling? I said, well, because I'm alive. I'm in this little tiny car and I'm in this big accident, I'm alive. But also in my mind, I knew the car was a write-off. And I knew at that point that I was going to get the insurance money, and I knew exactly what I was going to spend it on. And I've always wanted a 105 coupe, so I was already spending that insurance money before it had come through. I was in the classifieds looking for a 105 coupe.
I think if you're interested in cars, then you're interested in Alfa Romeo. By definition, it comes in that same bracket. You can rock up at absolutely, so far, any event, and people smile and like it. It just fits in wherever it goes.
proper petrol heads get it, and they're all over it. And do you know what? I'm not really bothered about the other guys that don't like it. You know, I quite like the rebelliousness of it looking a bit different. I like being different.
You know, it's demonstrably been through some tough times, but it doesn't have to put a shiny shell on to hold itself up now. And I had some pretty bad times, and a particularly bad sort of 10-year period that I came through, and I don't worry too much about putting a shiny side on now. So I think it's a fundamentally honest car. It is what you see, and that's I suppose something that I try and be now.
It's a car that I will keep forever and ever. And I couldn't say that about all my cars, but it is a car I will keep forever. It looks really cool, it drives beautifully, it's not overly over the top, it's not flash, it's fairly understated as a car, so I think for me it just covers a whole load of bases, and I can have an awful lot of fun in it. So it means a huge amount to me. It means, you know, it's very close to my heart. There's loads, you know what, there's loads of things I love about the car. I love the sound of it, I love the smell of it. I love the driving position in it. Yeah, there's lots of things. Lots. I'm a little bit in love with it. Anyway.